what's going on, guys? This is Mias and welcome to my Monarchs updated Monarchs combo video. Huge shoutouts to Steven, once again, the Monarch god. Last time you actually did watch my video, I'm actually surprised. Yo, if you're watching this, je te remercie, ma chère légende belge. But yeah, anyways, so this new pendulum card is actually really insane in Monarchs because I actually wasn't sure whether the must-be special summon while you control no cards in your extra deck other than Uncamouflight or whatever was a condition or a summoning condition. And now that I know that it's a summoning condition, basically what this means is that it's a power crept red layer, which is way better. It special summons itself for pretty much for free while drawing a card. So how can you be against that? So basically the combo number one, you can already know that this isn't just a 3-card combo. You're gonna wait for your draw. But what is really important with this video is I will kind of try my best to show you the sequencing and the best line of play that you can do with the certain kind of hands to play around Nibiru and stuff like that. And to at least make sure that you know if you can get Nibiru'd or not, because some people might actually just run into it and then say like, oh, I wasn't expecting it, or it's my opponent actually caught me off guard. I didn't know that people actually still play the card in the main deck. But yeah, on a game 1, I suggest everyone who's playing Monarchs to still play around Nibiru, and in game 2 and 3, whatever, you can kind of adapt. But yeah, anyways, Uncamouflight is going to pretty much destroy itself to draw 1 card. So look at this, man, we're already off to a +1, and Pot of Greed is a +1. In other words, we're pretty down. It's kind of like if Pot of Greed said, draw 2 cards, no, sorry, draw 1 card and then instantly special summon like a token on the field. So that's basically what this pendulum card is. And also on top of that, it's a level 5 monster, which means that if you draw 2 of them with domain, you can pretty much still domain lock your opponent. So if your opponent doesn't have a monster with at least 1800 attack, he can't crash and he's still gonna be under the extra deck lock, which is pretty nice, not gonna lie. Obviously Drytron and Virtual World, they can kind of still beat that. It's not necessarily the end of the world, but we never know. Maybe for other decks it's going to have like a much bigger impact. Anyways, so now Tenacity is actually live, so you can search for that return of the Monarchs. And another thing that is really important is that this actually is a special summon from the extra deck. So for the first time in history, a deck that doesn't play an extra deck can still summon from the extra deck. What? Yes. I know this made no sense, but the thing is, even though this looks like really insane support, and it looks like you don't really have to change much in your playstyle, since it is a summon from the extra deck, you have to change up completely the order in which you actually summon your cards and use your cards. So you have to always use Uncamouflight before you use Mithra, and of course if you use Return, well, as long as you have Return on the field, you're not allowed to summon from the extra deck, so you might actually have to Cuirass pop yourself. So now we can actually finally activate that Return and then summon the Mithra. So up until now there is absolutely no other way of doing the sequencing. This was the most optimal, the only one that actually really works, except otherwise you're gonna have cards in your hand and you're gonna be like, oh shit, I need to go back on my play, it's illegal. So yeah. Anyways, now we contribute 2. This card gets banished, which is so convenient, instead of going back to the extra deck. So your domain is actually going to be completely live, since you, of course, and same thing with Monarchs Eruption, since you're just not gonna have any cards in your extra deck. And now you can go Chainlink 1, 2, 3, the Mithra being in Chainlink 3, just in case you get to, you really want to play around the Ash, because maybe your opponent didn't want to Ash Uncamouflight. And now, it's kind of weird, the thing on Ash Uncamouflight, it's kind of the same with Ashing Master Cerberus. People don't really Ash cards like that for the advantage that you get, because they know that they're going neg-1 when they Ash a Cerberus or when they Ash Uncamouflight, but the reason why they're doing that is to clog your plays. If you Ash a Master Cerberus against Pendulums, they have a skill 4 that doesn't really do anything, and you know, that deck used to play a lot of level 4 monsters. I'm talking about Pendulum Magician, by the way. So, you know, with the version with Electrum, you're just not going to be able to play the game too well. So Ashing Cerberus was good literally just because you prevented your opponent from destroying himself. And I guess with Uncamouflight, it's kind of the same thing. If you Ash it, he doesn't draw, he still keeps the card for next turn, but at the same time, you won't have that summon for this turn. And if you don't play Red Layer on top of that, or the other vassal monsters, the squire, etc., well, you're really just not going to be able to summon anything, and that's exactly what your opponent wants. He wants you to not be able to tribute summon so he can just completely demolish you. So yeah, anyways, Chilling 1, 2, 3. That was 4 summons, by the way, because the Mithra is summon number 1. The token is, well, technically it's like 2 simultaneous summons in a way, but not really. It's still, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's still considered 2 summons, of course. It's not like Winda, that even if you summon 5 times, it's still considered like you summoned once. Nibiru, it counts the amount of monsters that you summoned, and not the amount of summons necessarily. So even if they are simultaneous, which I don't think they are anyways, you still cannot, you know, yeah, you still can't, you still might actually get Nibiru, so watch out. Anyway, so, by the way, the other summon was the Uncamouflight, and of course now the 4th summon is Erebus, so your 5th summon, your next monster that you summon, is in big danger. And yeah, anyways, you're, speaking of danger, some people play Danger Dogman in this deck. I don't know, I'm gonna cover this up in the deck profile that I will be uploading probably tomorrow, but I'm just not a big fan. Anyways, your Erebus will be pitching Prime Monarch and Pantheism. Pantheism can reveal 3 domain of the Monarchs from your deck to your hand, of course, since it's a 3 of. Technically, it can become a 4 of if you play Terraforming, which I think makes sense. It's 1 extra card, so you can pitch with, what's his face? Pantheism, which is always welcomed. And besides, this card is really good anyways. It's one of your main win conditions, if not the #1 win condition. This card is basically, I want to say, a bit better than Monarchs Erupt, because Monarchs Erupt, it allows you to win when you already have, you know, some form of advantage on your opponent, but Domain, it allows you to play and win. It's not the same. You know, you can transform a level 8 into a level 6, you can increase the attack of a 2800 attack monster by 800, so it becomes 36. 36 is a really important keyword because Ultimate Falcon is 35, you kind of get the point, etc, blah blah blah, so yeah. Anyways, so yeah, now you're gonna Domain, you're going to pretty much Tribute Summon on, like, Majesty's Fiend on top. That's gonna be summon number 5. It's crazy because we actually did have the Prime Monarchs with Tenacity, so we could have definitely banished the Tenacity to summon the Prime Monarch, but the reason, like I said, why I'm not doing that, even though I'm gonna have like an extra 2800 body on board, is literally just because of what I just said like 2 seconds ago, is that I really want to play around Nibiru. And besides, next turn, let's just say I don't know, my Majesty's Fiend somehow gets negated or he gets destroyed, but I still get to survive. I have an Erebus in the graveyard, so I can actually recycle it back by pitching a Monarch spell or trap. And then I still have that Prime Monarch, I still have Domain, so I can Tribute Summon Erebus again. So ironically, having Erebus in your graveyard is not even like a bad thing anyways. But yeah, that's it for combo number 1. I hope this was in-depth enough. Let's get into combo number 2. Alright, literally once again, speaking of sequencing, I have Uncamouflight, Majesty's Fiend, and Mithra. These are 3 cards that it's just, there's only one order very specifically for how I'm allowed to pilot this well, and once again, it plays around Nibiru and pretty much other hand traps in a way. If you get a hand trap like once, like Ash or something, it's really not the end of the world. You obviously cannot get Veiler. You can get Impermed though, which is kind of scary, but if you actually summon that Mithra, well, I mean, Imperm, not really. You summon Mithra, the token completely cucks the opponent. They can't even Imperm or Gamma. They have to use it super early, or they have to crash their monster and then Imperm, but since we're obviously gonna have 2 Fiends because we're skillful at Yu-Gi-Oh! That's what a good Yu-Gi-Oh! Player is supposed to be doing, skillfully drawing your Fiends going first, and then going second you draw Stormforth and the Crack. But yeah, now we have Uncamouflight in the extra deck. Yeah, that's a huge extra deck. And of course, Mithra, Majesties, and Vanities. We can't go once again Mithra first because it prevents us from the summoning from the extra deck. So we go Uncamouflight first, and then specifically Mithra first, because we have to Tribute Summon over the Mithra, but we can't Tribute Summon Majesty's Fiend on top of it. So we have to summon Vanity's Fiend on top, and the reason for that is because Mithra's effect in the graveyard is an activated effect. It actually starts a chain on its own, and it continues a chain. So that's why it was chain blocking on combo number 1 with Erebus and Prime Monarch. I was going Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, and then Chainlink 3 Mithra. It's pretty much going to be the same thing exactly here. So Majesty's Fiend, if I summon it on top of Mithra, I'm just not going to have the extra effect to Tribute Summon, and that Vanity's Fiend is going to sit in my hand and not do anything. And that's just not ideal. We want to have like both Fiends on field. So yeah, Vanity's Tribute on top of Mithra, not on top of Uncamouflight. Really need that extra tribute, so you're gonna do that right now, and then extra tribute Majesty's Fiend. Merry Christmas, you're dead. Alright, let's get into the third and final combo. Alright, another kind of combo on how to play around Nibiru in a way. By the way, the only combos that I'm showing, if you recall here, is every combo that doesn't use Idea or Eidos and that uses Uncamouflight in a way. And the reason for that is because those other combos that use Idea Eidos that I already kind of covered. Lithium, like Steven already covered them, so I just don't really want to repeat myself. It would kind of be... or make content that kind of already exists. I mean, I'm sure Steven already uploaded a bunch of combos with Uncamouflight too. It's just I want to do my own version, you know. Of course, I know, by the way, I know that he uploads combos. I just didn't watch his combo video because I didn't want to be influenced. That's what I usually do. With pretty much any deck. I don't watch a single combo video, a single deck profile. Everything is from scratch from my head. But yeah, so once again, Uncamouflight, Mithra, Aether. I'm obviously gonna draw something with Uncamouflight. What is it? It's Erebus. Interesting. So just another tribute summon monster. That kind of looks like too much, huh? So yeah, now Mithra extra summon, sorry, and now tribute summon number 1 for Erebus and not Aether. And the reason for that is because Erebus here is actually summon number 4. So I really want to have a higher chance of sniping my opponent's Nibiru if I want to keep playing, but if I don't want to keep playing, at least I have Aether in my hand. Whereas if I actually chose to tribute summon for Aether instead of Erebus, I would have summoned like an extra monster. That would have been summon number 5, and then I get Nibiru like regardless, and Erebus in my hand doesn't have any extra value. It just doesn't really do much. Well, technically, I can still kind of play because I can pitch Pantheism and Prime. Pantheism will reveal Tenacity, and then search for Domain, and then reduce the level, and then Special, but whatever. I don't want to go there, because then I have to go Erebus, shuffle back the Nibiru on the field. It's kind of shit. I just want to play around that possibility as much as I possibly can. So, Erebus will just be removing a card from my opponent's hand. Right now, what you're seeing is that I'm removing the Vassal token, but obviously I'm not doing that. It's just... I'm testing against no one. This is a new option in EDO Pro, by the way. Really recommend using that software if you just want to test hands, draw hands, etc. Dueling Book is great for, you know, playtesting with good players, but you only need to do that when you're preparing for a big event. When you're just trying to learn while you're still a casual, I really do recommend EDO Pro. It's just, you get a much bigger bulk of games much faster, so it's just more worth it. Anyways, if we want to lose to Nibiru, if technically we had a 20% chance of sniping that one of Nibiru with that Erebus from the hand, so he has 4 cards in the hand right now, and we still are at only 4 summons. Now our Pantheism can search pretty much anything. Tenacity is literally any search, so now by revealing the Aether, we can get either Domain, I don't know, I wouldn't really recommend Domain, but the safest move here is actually to search for Monarch Stormforth, so now we can actually, you know, get rid of that Prime Monarch, Tenacity to summon Prime Monarch, but during the end phase, because Nibiru obviously only counts main phase summons. Well, I mean, you know, it can, not really, but it only summons itself during the main phase. So, of course, during the end phase, even if you did 5 summons, it doesn't matter. And now we can Stormforth and then trigger Aether by tributing an opponent's monster and our own Prime Monarchs by banishing Tenacity, so Monarch Stormforth. So, yeah, it's just going to be a really, I want to say the safest way to interrupt your opponent twice. One time with the Erebus hand loop, and then one time with Aether tribute summoning over the opponent's monster, and then getting you more advantage in the graveyard because you're going to pitch Pantheism and like something else. Your Prime is going to be able to use its effect again. And also, on top of that, you can summon another monster like, you're gonna see it tomorrow in my deck profile, because Kuraz doesn't really work when you summon it off of Aether during your opponent's turn with its own effect. It's gonna miss timing. It's an optional 1 effect. So its summon wasn't the last thing to happen. I believe it was, I don't know, was it Aether sending the 2 cards? I have no idea. But anyways, that's all I had to showcase for this beautiful Monarch, updated Monarch combo video. If you guys have any comments or feedback, suggestions of deck, definitely let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because it motivates me a lot to keep making videos like these. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.